this shows you one aspect of communication which is very important. Listen to what the other says. And it's not by chance that the Lord has given us one mouth and two ears. So one aspect in communication which is very important also in the communication between the sectors is listen to what the others have to say. We always use this model, we have in agriculture, we have research finding new ideas, practices. They are only valid and useful if they finally reach the potential beneficiaries. So how do that? The only way is communication. Tell me another way, I'm ready to learn. But the only way to get research findings, new ideas, innovations, down to the potential beneficiaries, and one way, the only way to get research to impact is through communications. Now we have another thing, nutrition, same thing, and we have health. What we currently observe is in many areas 3 silos that work independently towards each other and with the negative effects, potentially negative effects, or unused synergies for the final users. How would it look like if they suddenly would join forces, if they suddenly would start talking to each other, and then also perhaps have a coordinated communication approach? Communications by various means, with dialogue, with conferences, with strategies, with campaigns, but they should work coordinated together to free the synergies. Communication, I will later on allude for a second, is an art, not a science. So what it's all about is that you have content messages, that you have groups who should know about the contents and the messages, and then you have channels, media and channels, social networks, etc. This is how you communicate. And it's not an outreach campaign that the one tells the other. This is what you have in dictatorships. I tell the people communication means that both sides are in permanent dialogue. What I would like to bring to your attention is actually the AIDA rule. It's an old textbook, so if you have studied marketing, you will find the AIDA rule, which is simply an abbreviation for attention. So how do I get people's attention? If you bring the usual stuff in the usual form, nobody will read it. You know from your desk that if something runs over the desk, you won't read it if it doesn't get your attention. Once you got the attention from people, you have to raise their interest in the matter. And then the desire to do something about it, and then finally the action. What we have very often, the problems in research communities and in research environments, is basically that they sell their products in the most boring way possible. So can you imagine Coca-Cola saying, please dry our bubbled water, please buy our bubbled water with some brown syrup in it? No, it's the feeling of life. Or could you imagine Nike and saying, we have there some canvas where we have put rubber on it, why don't you put that on your feet? We all smile, but some of the messages we get across from research is a bit like that. You don't have that vision, you don't have that fascination. This is an old cartoon, but this is the simplified version for the general public. Yes, that's it. We at IFPRI divide communication groups outside in basically 4 segments. The expert academia, and they like it very much to have the full report, has to be producible, reproducible. Researchers have to see how you came to the results. Then we have the insiders. These are people who are professionally dealing with issues, be it in research centers, be it in foundations where they are responsible for, let's say, malnutrition or other things. It's a different type than the academic people. Sometimes they flow into each other. And then we have the interested, or as George W. Bush would have called them, the liberals. The interested are people who have a genuine interest in social issues, and they would not read the full book. They would not be interested in getting the full report. They are interested in getting the essence. What is the gender issue doing? How is the nutrition issue developing? So we have to, in a way, translate it for them too. And then at the end you have the general public, which, where you have most times bullet point information. Africa starving, Africa better, the crisis in Egypt. So it's very bullet pointish, but you have to develop if you are doing communications that based on evidence, you have to go the full Monty from the top to the bottom. Communication again. Sound, please.
Überlebensradar.
Mayday, Mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
I'm not going to follow that. Let me explain I'm Warren, and I'm going to kind of guide you through the next 90 minutes. Let me explain a little bit about the format. We're going to actually have, I'm going to put up a little bit in a minute just what the brief is to the panelists. Thanks. What the brief is to the panelists, and then we're going to have each of them do 5 minutes each, strictly. They've been told 5 minutes, that's it. 5 minutes, and then we are going to try and get a lot of interaction and dialogue. And I have to tell you, there are prizes for the best questions and comments from the audience, and they are Colombian toffees. So the best 5, and there is only, because this is a democratic process, there's one judge, and that's me. And so I will be judging, and there is a prize for the best question. But firstly, as this is a communication thing, we're going to do something to introduce yourselves to each other, okay? So I want you to firstly, before you stand up, think of your favorite song. What song comes, don't tell me, what song comes into your head right now? Don't tell me. Everyone got a song? I want you to stand up and stand back to back with someone, and you've got to be quiet at the moment. So stand up, stand back to back. I'm going to count. Okay, so I'm going to count to 3. When I get to 3, you're to start singing your song. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stop. Turn quickly to the other person. Turn quickly to the other person. Explain why that is your favorite song. Okay, take a seat. Very quickly, 5 or 6 favorite songs. Tell me, quickly, what were they?
Home on the Range.
Home on the Range? Oh, I remember that one. Anyone else?
Money.
We Shall Overcome?
Let it be.
Let It Be?
We are all in it together.
Sorry?
We shall overcome.
Sorry?
We are all in it together.
We are? Okay.
All in it together.
That's great. Anyone else? Quickly over this side, favorite songs?
How great thou art.
How great thou art.
Money, forever.
I'm tempted to give you the microphone right now. They're coming back together evidently, so divorces and everything. So, all right. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you. Let me introduce the panel. Firstly, Mike Dacre from Zambia. Mike is someone who's very well known in the whole communication for development area, but has started and running his own private radio station in Zambia, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. Adelaide Trujillo, who's well known in Latin America communication circles, directs the Communication Initiative of Latin America, but is more well known for being a documentary filmmaker, and recently for doing some very interesting stuff on entertainment education, linking schools, reproductive health, sexual health, and trying to broker partnerships between government, the NGOs, etc. JJ Oting, who's probably known to many of you, is that correct? And as a policy advisor, president of the National Agricultural Council in Uganda, and is a policy advisor to the president on many issues. And Rainer von Malecki, who works for BASF, sorry, I missed the A, in Germany, and is I'm sure well known to many of you as well, and takes the lead within BASF on issues to do with agriculture, health, and nutrition. So we have asked them, sorry if we can get the next slide, we have asked them the following. If someone approaches you to bring these three sectors together, how would you do it? Agriculture, health, nutrition. So if someone approaches you based on your experience to bring these three sectors together, how would you do it? So they've got 5 minutes each, and then we will open it up for questions, dialogue, etc. So why don't we just, we did agree who was going to go first. JJ, you're going to start.
Thank you, Facilitator. As has already been mentioned, my name is John Joseph Otim, Senior Advisor to the President on matters of agriculture, veterinary, food and nutrition, and I also the President of Agricultural Council of Uganda. Now, I want to restrict myself to the policy